let me know of any changes that need to be made, and
Excuse me.
motion to approve them and all that.
Let's go ahead and make the motion that we approve the minutes of March the 5th, 2024 for the Community Preservation Committee.
I'll second
Everybody-
it.
Any conversation about it, anything needs to be changed, or do we accept them as they are presented? So are we accepting them? Yes?
Yes.
Everyone?
Yes.
Okay,
I wasn't here.
Yes.
so. One abstainer. There is no public comments or questions. So then the only other thing we really have to do is review warrant articles for town meeting and continue discussion of bylaw. So I did swing by the town administrator's office this morning, because I am nothing if not last minute, now you know, with my suggestion of the change of the bylaw. And I'm just gonna give you guys a copy of it, because I didn't email it. And literally, it's a strike-through line. There you go.
I printed it out this afternoon.
Because we do not have a housing authority for the town of Hubbardston that rolled into the planning board, which, do you need this? Okay. Which, we have a planning board rep. So, that would put us down to 8, which is an even number, meaning quite the problem if half of us agree on something and half of us don't. And then, there was some discussion with Nate and others about who we could put on this committee to bring us back to 9, that would actually come to this committee meeting and would have an interest in serving on community preservation. Finance committee, I guess they're having a hard time even getting finance committee members, so that's a bit of a stretch. Planning board's already here. Select board gets a little dicey because when CPA came into fruition, as you know, because you were at the meeting with Stuart, there was a big push that CPA was some way around the 2.5% override. So, the deal that was made, with, you know, the devil's in the details, was basically that none of this money could go to general fund or to any, to run the town. It had to be for these specific uses. It's a little hard if you've got the checkbook writers on the committee to say that there's no oversight for the general, like they could prioritize monies that they could take out of the town budget and then say, hey, we're gonna do this. I don't think they would, but it could happen. So that knocked them off. And then 2 that came up was the Agricultural Commission,
Okay.
of which you're already a member.
I am a member of that, yes.
And
But you're representing,
she's a member at large.
Right now, I'm just a member at large here.
oh, I see.
But in that, I am a member of the Ag
Council.
Yeah,
How
okay.
many people are on that? Rebecca just joined recently.
She did just join, so it's,
I saw her dad the other night.
1, 2,
Dad and mom.
3, 4,
Kathy, obviously.
5, 6,
Oh,
maybe
it's
6 or 7 if we
Oh,
all
that's
show
good.
up,
Yeah.
but.
That's an
We
important,
had a
so-
committee quorum the other day.
So, the reason in my mind why, it was either, I was thinking Library Commission or Agricultural Commission, is if agritourism, which is one thing that's been talked about repeatedly in this town, was something that did take off, that your committee would have a pretty
Yeah.
good voice.
Yeah,
So having your committee come in, you know, here and have a view of what that is and maybe find ways that we can use CPA fundings for projects
Yeah.
that would fit that, wouldn't be a bad thing. And then we're down 1 member at large, which I'll find someone.
did we just fill that with Chris, or is that, we're still?
Chris is, there's 3 members at large, so Chris would
Okay.
take up 1, I'm a member at large. We'd be short 1,
Okay,
but it's always
So we-
possible we could find someone who wanted to do that.
right.
Okay, before we go on in this did you have a chance to talk with Nate about this?
Yes, this morning.
He did not mention that you can't take the housing off? It's the Mass General Law?
He did not mention that at all, and
Okay,
housing
'cause I
doesn't-
did stop by because I did some research and, this is probably the time
But we
to
don't have a housing authority.
I know. That's from Stuart. Okay. Did I? Oh, there we go. Everybody has one? Because it, you know, as we were talking about it last time, I thought, that's such an integral part of this whole thing. So I I started with, we're studying the quorum issue, and the suggestion was made to get rid of one seat, and that was the seat.
Mhm.
And he came back with, you can't, so.
Well, we don't have, if
I
you do not
know,
have,
so we
you
have
could
to
propose
find
change to your
somebody.
bylaw to get a housing person by another method.
But it's a statutory thing, we can't do that.
Well, it does say here, if, maybe I'm misreading this here, Stuart Saginaw?
Saginaw,
Saginaw.
yeah.
Saginaw.
We
It
think,
says, if you do not have a housing authority, you could propose a change to your bylaw to get a housing person by another method, such as the select board appointing someone with relevant experience to represent the interest of housing.
But you can't just ignore it, this is a state law.
No, no, I
No, I
understand that.
didn't realize that,
And
Susan.
I absolutely get it. What I'm saying though is that, the bylaw would have to change, which is the first step.
Mhm.
And the second step is then to, indicate to the select board that they need to appoint somebody
right.
with the relevant experience in the area of housing. I'm just gonna throw this out as an example, not because I want her on it or not,
Mhm.
because she's a
No,
great
it is-
person.
but any
But for
ideas?
example, a person like Alice Livedall would have been a wonderful person to have
Oh,
on
she
here.
knows the rules so well.
But she's extremely busy, so she
Right.
might not even do this here, but that would be a perfect individual, as they would say, to join a committee like ours. And if she had, or would agree, then the select board could appoint her, because she has the relevant experience.
I totally agree on that, and then the
But she doesn't
Concom,
wanna
for some
be-
reason, nobody ever has shown up from Concom.
I-
They have a few times, we've had Concom members
Oh,
before.
in my experience, I've only been around since 219 on this, I don't remember anybody, but,
Kayla was a
Kayla
member
was
of
here.
Concom.
oh, Kayla was wonderful.
Yeah.
You're right, so
We-
that was
She
like a
served
stretch
for a
of
few
2 to 3
years.
years.
I brought
Well,
that,
so my question would be, Daniela, you have experience in housing, what if we could have her appointed as the
Oh, 'cause I'm on the Affordable Housing Committee.
member, and then that opens up a member at large, which is
Still-
kind of easier to fill,
Yeah.
cause they're not always on other boards.
Well, that's a way to do it, and then we're full except for Concom, or do we still
But
have
what
an
we
at-large?
think that
We could
Concom
bring
is
someone
trying
else
to
in.
get, I
yeah.
think that they're working
So
on getting someone.
I spoke with Rick Green a couple of weekends
Mhm.
ago,
Yeah.
and he, I think, as a matter of fact, the last time we met here, or we met there, they were having a meeting here, and the subject was actually broached at that point in time
Oh,
about
really?
I
bringing
did see it on the
somebody.
agenda.
Oh, wonderful, well, so did they,
I don't know.
yeah.
I have not followed that group's,
But at that point, would we be just missing the one? And so we're still aiming, 9 is big, I
Yeah.
mean, it is tough, but pretty much, the people are pretty faithful, is what I've observed,
Yeah.
the people that,
And now that we have Chris back, we're back to having a little bit of flexibility, like say if Sandra travels or if Dolores travels.
Mhm.
We're back to being able to have some, at least 5.
Can you reduce a member at large? To
Mhm.
try to reduce the size?
Yeah, you could do that.
I mean,
No,
if
so-
it- I mean,
But
we
you'd have
could
to
go
keep-
down to 7, maybe get rid of 2 members at large and go down to
Well,
7.
then you end up with the whole, do we have any voice from anybody in the public other than just the one?
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They don't come up.
And you'd have to go through a bylaw change, where if we just find somebody on Concom, we're set.
Well, Concom's not
Oh.
really the issue, we were keeping them. I
Oh,
didn't
so-
realize that the housing board had to
so
stay,
that-
because we don't have a housing authority, so I don't know how we
Right.
could do that.
so they do say here that shrinking the size of those boards is a separate issue. You can't delete any of the 5 statutory positions,
But everything
which are
else
again,
you can.
housing, conservation, planning board, planning,
Just
Board of
3.
Parks, Commissions, and Historic.
Yeah.
The only flexibility you have is with the other 4 slots.
And so that could work, because I'm actually already on the affordable housing, so,
Mhm.
and then we're back.
And then you could be on the housing, then we could, if we wanted to get rid of, like I said, the other 4 slots, which are the members at large, right?
Right.
Those would be the 4 numbers.
That puts you back where you were though, kind of.
Well, it
And-
opens up another at-large position, so she's
Mhm.
still here, Mary's still here, so she'll stay as an at-large.
And is then Chris gonna
Chris
be a
is-
member at large?
Chris is gonna be a member at-large.
So do we have still another at large, so
We still have,
need-
because I would move out of the at-large position into housing.
Okay, and so Concom needs to show up.
Right, but even
And-
without, I mean, hopefully they'll come.
That way we don't have to go through jump through the hoops of a bylaw change, right?
No, and I mean, 9's worked for how long we've had this rule? needs to be
Do,
a team.
do we ever have 9 people come
No, we
altogether?
never do.
We never have, even from
No.
the beginning. We've
Um,
always been fighting for quorum.
That's
So-
a tall order, but,
Yeah.
you know, as I said, the core group seems to be pretty steady.
Yep, so
That's-
5 is fine, so we can table that, we're not gonna change the bylaws, so that's gone.
And the bylaws were changed in 212, because initially, he was looking at 207 that was on their website, so it helped him update his,
Oh.
you know, cause there's so many balls to drop that you
Yeah.
don't think about. Cause he had a question about that, and, we went to charter government at that point, was that a big change for Hubbardston or
Yes.
not?
Well,
Was it?
they rewrote the charter.
rewrote
Yeah,
the
oh,
charter.
rewrote it,
So the
okay.
charter was rewritten, and at that time, CPC and all,
Everything was
everything was
rewritten.
visited,
changed,
you know?
Okay, all right.
'cause at that
So
point-
now he has the current one on the website,
that's
so
good.
that's good.
Well, thank you for reaching out on that, cause I had no idea
Well,
housing
I
had to
just,
be on
it
there.
just didn't feel right, I just thought, no.
I don't know how we could have housing when we don't have a housing authority.
I know, but
You know,
it
it's like-
means that we have to sort of scurry and somehow fill the void.
Well, that's planning board, you are the housing rep. Kinda, you're both. You
That's
wear
what
two hats.
Alice sort of thought she was when she was
We're
planning
no
board,
longer,
but they are,
we're no longer,
yeah.
I
we
know.
no longer have the housing.
I know, but I mean, that's, all the duties of it kind of fell into planning board, it's shrunk back in.
They're closely related, but. And I hate to bug Alice, you probably hate
No,
to
but
bug
I mean, we have
Alice.
these are separate statutory positions, right? You have the housing
Right,
and planning. So,
Mhm.
even though, yes, they are potentially together, you still need somebody for
right,
housing.
but when it was started, it was separate.
Yeah.
There was, well, actually, most of the people in the housing authority were planning board members.
Oh, that's
Except for like
interesting.
one or two that were from outside of there, but that doesn't matter, so we can, that's figured out, we're done with that. So we have to review warrant items, I did print out, I think what was submitted last year, just as a just as a,
Oh, yeah, cause it has the graph for the,
right,
playground.
principal interest.
Yeah,
total.
and the first page on this has the draft, so we can look it over. The big decision that we had already formally approved the trail grant, right? The town
Yes,
trail.
yep.
But the decision that we need to decide is which bucket to take it from.
I
Because
think-
it could come from either, you know.
But we,
this-
at the time of the meeting, when we voted for it, we voted to take it out of open space.
Okay, so that's already a fait accompli, that's done.
Yeah, let me just double check.
Okay, because what I'll do
We have
is,
10,000 for open space.
okay, open space, I'll cross off that, and when I send it to you, or do I send it straight to who?
No, you can send it to me.
Okay, and then you can send it
Send it
on.
on to
In
them.
other words, I'll just, this is the draft and I'll fix it.
Excellent.
So that says open space, and then I guess logically, the other is undesignated reserve for the debt. Yes? No? There's nowhere else to take it from.
Right.
Well, actually, technically, it could come out of open space, but we don't quite have the money. It's like $1,260 over. But technically, we could. It depends how we wanna save for things. Seems smarter to take it out of undesignated reserve, though, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Because right now we have 83,265 and deduct 31,260.
Do you have printouts of that for us so that we can?
Yes, it's
Okay.
on the other, it's on the front page.
Oh.
Not that one.
Oh,
That
it's
one's.
all attached to this, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The first page of this table.
Look at this. Yeah, yeah.
What I.
So the,
Gotcha.
the trail is at the top, and then this one, but we have to vote on where that comes from. Suggestion would be undesignated reserve, because there's really, you can't take out of history or housing.
Right.
And we don't have enough left if we do the 10 out of open space. But the good news is, on the Rainbow Playground, one more year after this, and we
Nice.
have completed it, so. And I double checked with the tax lady, Mary, is it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just said, I wanna be sure this is for fiscal year 25, right? Right, okay. And that's the right amount on that chart, right? You have the chart in front of you, 31260. Fiscal year 2025.
Yep.
Good. We're set, except for voting it or moving it.
Well, did we decide on how we're gonna fund the open space project?
Was,
Cause there was discussion, open space didn't have enough
She
money.
said we did it last, didn't,
when we voted for this, we voted to take the 10,000 out of open space.
Yeah.
But she's saying there's not enough money.
no, if we did this one also out of open space, there wouldn't be.
Oh, if we did the playground.
Conceptually, we could have, cause it's a recreational thing.
Okay,
So,
but when we voted on the money for the playground, I'll have to go back and look at it. Did we vote?
Usually it's undesignated reserve.
It was.
It was under, okay,
Yeah,
so then that it doesn't matter.
it just kinda makes sense, cause that's where the big chunks come from
Yep.
usually. So
As long as
does
that's
some-
what we voted on to begin with, then it shouldn't be a big problem.
So we're taking it out, we had voted on open space?
Yeah.
Mike's coming out, okay.
So the 31 will be undesignated. Right? And then,
Will somebody make a motion there, or no?
I think we're just gonna edit all of them
Oh,
at
okay.
one point, and then,
Oh, okay, then the next thing would be the estimates, which was, 100,000, we were gonna be conservative.
okay.
And if it's a little more, then we're better, but if it's less, we don't have an issue.
So we just basically we covered the same,
Right.
exact same numbers that we estimated last year?
And I tried to match the language to what was in the last report,
Mhm.
but if somebody feels they need to change it, or, you know, because they put, see, one is for expenses, the admin, and then the rest is reserves,
Mhm.
which makes sense.
Right.
So it looks correct to me, but, you know, there's always, is there a typo, is there something else? And what I'll do is I'll just delete this bottom stuff and then fix it and send it to you,
Okay.
okay? Oh, except we have to vote.
But do we all agree that this is a decent estimate?
I think it looks good.
So who would like to make a motion to accept the warrant articles as presented?
I will make a motion to accept the warrant articles as accepted.
And I'll second it.
All in favor?
I,
It passes. Very
And,
exciting.
just while we're talking the estimate for the state percentage and all that, this last chart, if you like to have fun with math and with convoluted formulas, cause remember, Francois, you asked me about the percentage, when how do you find the percentage? Cause if you look at it, it's different almost every year.
Yep.
See the chart for percentages? The first year, you start out at 100%, but then it changes, it fluctuates. And,
that's the state batch.
yeah.
On the state batch column, because I didn't see that at the top.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I put my
No, no, that's
sticky
okay.
over it.
That's
So
okay.
the left is the what comes in taxes, this is the state match, and that's the percentage, but the formula, if you like formulas, it's the prior year surcharge times the current year percentage is the current year match.
Yep.
Okay,
So
and
last year,
then,
in 2007, you brought
that's
in-
easy, because it's right in front of us,
Yeah.
it just makes sense, but
Yeah.
if you apply that down the way it works.
Mhm.
So, but it's interesting, it started off at 100, because I think when new communities come in, that's what they do. Did anybody else read that in the CPA coalition, that there's 2 new communities coming in?
I know that
And they
Don
get a
Moore
big
cut off.
chunk first, and that's gonna affect whatever, you know, the
Yep.
bucket only has so much. So, but it fluctuates from there, the lowest that we've seen is 17.2,
Mhm.
and that was back in 2018, not a
Mhm.
surprise then, right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, last year was 43, that's actually pretty good, or 2022. They do update this, but it's on the next page, and I haven't updated this, but it does actually make sense, but I had to look at it, and then finally Rick said, okay, I'm gonna write it out this way. And then it says, okay, current year surcharge plus previous year match, total CPA revenue. I mean, it's, you have to I had to spend some time with it, but it's out there, there is transparency.
Yep.
But they don't tell you ahead of time, because they don't know,
Right.
you know.
And they seem to be a little bit worried about this year's.
Yes, that's why we're being
Well,
very
there's-
conservative.
Yeah, the whole issue is also that a lot of this is obviously funded with,
The registry.
the registry of
Right,
deeds. and
that's
there's been-
basically
yeah,
most
if
of it.
the sales are not there, then you're
Right.
not gonna get the, revenue, matching revenue, I should say.
You guys, I think we're done.
Thank you, Brian.
That's impressive.
So do you want me to bring, the warrant articles down to,
Hey, if you're going over.
Okay, so you want me to send them to you then?
Send them to me too, so I just I have it.
Okay, I'll copy both of you. The only thing I have to change is delete this bottom part, and then, open space 10K, the undesignated
I'll just use
reserve.
this, you don't have to send me it, can I just use this? I'll just use this.
You could, but you'd have to scan it then, right?
Fine.
If that's what you wanna do?
I mean, you can send it to me if you want.
I just assume I'll get rid of this stuff and then send it to you guys clean, so you have less work to do.
Nice.
Is that all right? Oh, are there a couple other things, or?
Well, we're done with the agenda.
Okay, and because, I mean, we need to talk about the annual meeting, and I finally got the message, folks. It took 3 years. Nobody shows up.
Right.
I realized that finally
do
last year.
When did we do it last year? We did it
Uh,
You first,
yeah,
and
so-
your husband, and one
Yeah,
guy.
we had 3
Mike
guests.
showed up.
Yeah.
And most, I think, every committee all showed
Yep.
up. And we had a nice time, nice discussion and stuff, and crackers and cheese, but here again,
Hello, Mrs. Barbera.
This is Eric Hamilton.
This worked out very nicely, cause you know, you
We're
can't,
done.
I don't think you swore in yet, did you?
I did.
You did, I'm so proud of you.
Yay. Oh, were you thinking 7? Is that it? Or-
Oh, what, yeah.
It was
Oh,
6:30.
see, it was
Oh.
which is unusual, but
I'm embarrassed.
welcome
embarrassed.
anyway.
I don't think I sent you the second reminder on it, only cause,
You didn't think I was gonna?
I didn't think you were gonna be able to swear in time, so I was like, we don't make her drag out tonight.
Well, my apologies, I will pay better attention to that.
No worries.
Are you all done?
So this is our new, well, not quite, we have to set the annual meeting, which we're leaning towards sometime in June.
Is there some way to piggyback that on something else?
So that's why we always would do the informational boards at the town meeting. So at least we were getting the word out.
Well, what about that?
Well, we've
it's a
done
great
that
idea.
number of
If
times.
if the town meeting starts at usually 7, correct?
So we would set up at 6:30 for people
It's
who
just so
came in
we're there.
early, and we
Yeah.
were there.
And
You
if
get the
somebody.
maximum, you get the maximum amount of people.
Yeah,
that way.
right. I doubt that anybody, I mean, we could sit down and discuss if they want and just
I
have
mean,
a
we had,
few.
the last time that I did that, I don't even remember which town meeting it was at, every board had a table, and we all were there, with different informations.
Do you think that's worth it though? I mean,
It was fine, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't recollect a whole bunch of people coming by and talking to me.
no, well, they're there to
But a whole
vote.
bunch of people don't come to the
No,
Right.
meetings anyway.
but I just figured we'll probably be there anyway,
Mhm.
and so just have a table near wherever. Are they gonna be using the school again or the gym? Because it makes a difference
Maybe
in
it's
the.
a gym.
It's
Use
usually
the gym.
Yeah, but they were in the cafetorium last couple times for maybe
Not the
special
last
town
time.
meetings.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think there
And
was
you know
some-
what, I have a suggestion for that. Does it bother you that people have to have their backs to people when they're talking? Couldn't they do something at an angle? You know, have the front table at an angle and this person gets there and then we can see them too, cause it's weird to be, I don't know.
But
Yeah.
they're talking to the town body usually, which is the folks
I
at the
know, so
table.
if you're here, the person's talking, select board's over there, or the people, and then.
I have seen it where they had when there were really big attendance, they had people, they had 2 microphones, one on the left and one on the right.
That
was-
might
that
work,
was
so you're
one,
this way, but
yeah.
this way you have your back to people, I don't know, it's
Yeah.
just weird.
Well, you can make the suggestion, and
To
there's
who?
no
Nate?
reason. Nate would be the right
Okay.
person, yes.
Alright, and then, this isn't everybody, but if you could just send me, oh, you're gonna love this, the opinion, the KP Law opinion on the church, I'd like to
Sure.
read it. And Sanda, this isn't actually, the library lady's here too. I talked with one of your assistants on the way out Monday, and those pots in front,
Yes.
that usually Parks does, right? How about if the garden tour people take care of it for you this year?
I don't know, who are the garden tour people, cause Parks likes doing it.
Oh, you like, okay, then forget it. Okay, we were trying to be nice, but that's all right. Okay.
I didn't even know there was a garden tour in town.
Oh, we don't?
Okay, so
Okay.
I'm gonna,
Alright, anyways,
I'm
yeah,
gonna use,
but
I'm gonna
fine.
take back my time
Okay,
and
you're
say,
still covered.
I don't know, do we have to have a hearing and town meeting? Or would town meeting count as the hearing? I don't know, I don't think it would. Cause you'd have to post it,
For what?
the annual hearing that you,
Well, you could post it for 6:30 on the night of the town meeting.
Correct,
That's
because the town
true.
meeting is at 7.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
alright.
it does need to be posted 2 weeks ahead, you know the
Which is
drill,
fine.
I'm sure
Yeah.
Danielle.
You can post it online.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
simply say it's going
It's
to
supposed to go
run
in the
at the same.
newspaper too, or whatever. Did you do
Oh.
that last year?
Yeah, like Gardner News, yeah.
Yeah, because technically, that's
Sure.
the old-fashioned way people get news,
okay,
Kurt
so
now.
hearing at 6:30
It's still in the paper, I think.
on
It
town
says
meeting
it
night, which I
on-
don't think the town meeting
Yeah,
date's
so
been
that
set.
way, we're
I
obeying the
don't
law.
think it has either.
even
No, it
though
hasn't. I don't
nobody
think it
shows
was
up.
At least it hadn't last I asked.
Should we give her a quick preview of what we did tonight?
Um,
Would that be nice?
No, I can watch the video, I can watch the video.
Oh, okay.
Thank
See, she's so efficient, we're done then,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
All right.
so does somebody wanna make a motion to adjourn?
I make the motions that we adjourn?
And I can't.
Oh, you cannot?
I'll second.
All in
Debatable.
favor?
Aye?
Aye.
I,